Anti in a great resumption of form this season. Fox wins the Austrian Grand Prix and he wins the Italian Grand Prix. A great race for him. Will come across the line here and win the Brazilian Grand Prix. Redemption day for the American driver. She wins the Spanish Grand Prix.
Will be Kubo on this Tano gets an amazing run, which he does.
As he comes to the final winner for the very first time.
Welcome to the season finale. I am so excited to be bringing you this race, the qualifying session, which, if you haven't watched it, premiered earlier today, so definitely go have a look at it. This is your grid for the race. As well as that, I'm joined by a very special guest today. Hey Kuba.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome back to UV Finale commentary. It's been a couple seasons, hasn't it?
I think it's just been one.
No, you didn't do last year. Pit crew and
Oh,
Grandy.
maybe it's been two.
I know,
Yeah.
time flies, doesn't it?
Yeah, I am a Thunder X hater, so it makes sense that.
We remain completely impartial here at the commentary box. Yes. Anyways,
Maybe.
so I'm joined by a wonderful commentator and owner of Neon Sunset Virtual Maserati, Mr. Cubbo. Cubs, let's just run through the grid here. So, I mean, take it away, actually.
Well, Juan starts from pole position, doesn't he?
He does.
It was a great lap from him, beating Jake Brad, I believe, by a 100th in Q3. So Jake starts from the front row. Kraft from third. Priya, Juan's teammate, starts from fourth as they look to try and challenge for that constructors. Grandy, also a challenger to the constructors, starts from fifth. Shiloh for Lead Pot in sixth. Rito for Neon Sunset in seventh. Pet Crew also for Thunder X in 8th, Corvid for Lead Pot in 9th. They've got a good double top 10 qualifying. Cado rounds off the top 10 in the Velocity car. Anti starts just outside the top 10 in 11th. Somehow I made it in 12th. Pappy in 13th, followed by two fellow Canadians, Fox and Todd Sod. Girouni starts 16th, Abver 17th, Kader 18th, Suicide 19th, and Goose will start from last.
Yeah, some big surprises there in qualifying. We'll pull up now the full results page. Obviously, we did the Q1, Q2, and the Q3 one-shot qualifying format. So the big shocks were Goose out in Q1, as well as Jeru. That was very, very tight indeed for Jeru, just outside of that Q2 elimination zone. Then in Q2, we had Anti was the big loss out there, one of the top three drivers in the World Championship. The others in the top four, Jeru and Goose, out in Q1, Anti out in Q2. Pappy also drops there. He's a part of that sort of trio of slightly championship contenders where they would need basically a miracle in order to win it, but he is one nonetheless. Anti on the same row as former teammate and co-owner of Superfast Racing somehow made it. And then the one-shot qualifying in what was a fantastic session, as you rightly say, Kuba. 100th of a second separated Juan and Jake on the front row. Juan just pipping him to pole at the very, very last. Gosh, right. Well, let's have a little look at the team overview first. All to play for here. The points total for Audi slightly outdated. It's 112 now with that pole position point. But as you can see, 25 upgrades for SFR, 25 for Thunder X, 24 for Audi Sport Virtual. It's so tight in this race to build the fastest car, and these three teams who have put the most upgrades on the car are really reaping the rewards from it. It looks like they are the three favourites for the championship here today. FVR will have a mammoth task on their hands, starting from 15th and 20th. Meanwhile, down the lower end, Fox nearly all but guaranteed relegation. Still, what a fantastic thing we have in store for us today. We'll take a look at the championships. It does mean now that Priya is mathematically out of contention. She is 26 points behind her teammate who knocked her out of contention by taking that point for pole position yesterday. And even if she got a win and fastest lap, she would not beat him on tiebreak. Therefore, she is out. Only the top 10 are left in championship contention. Corvid and Pappy would have a big task on their hands. They are 21 and 23 points off the leader, respectively. Then, looking upwards, we've got a slightly closer section of 8 drivers. Caddo, 11 points off. He will have a difficult time of it today. He's starting in 10th, pretty good, but he wasn't looking very fast in Q3. Grandy, 10 points off. He definitely could do something here today. Starts in a pretty decent position up the order. You can see him well, not see him, but he is in 5th place. And then also we've got Jake starting on the front row, definitely one of the main contenders. Pit Crew starting in 8th, could be there, but then Goose, Jero and Anti starting 20th, 16th and 11th. That is music to the ears of Juan, the only competitors that he has starting within the top 10, or at least 7 points behind him. So this could all start to be swinging in the favour of the Belgian driver. Cubs, anything to comment on the driver's standings? What do you think will happen?
I think Juan is the clear favourite to keep it here. All he has to do is just stay at the top. He could even drop down to 2nd and still deliver the title, considering all his main contenders in this race are 7 points or more behind.
Absolutely right. And finally, we'll take a look at the constructors' standings. That is Superfast Racing on 125 points, just ahead of ThunderX, just ahead of Audi Sport Virtual. Yeah, those are your big 3 competitors. Superfast Racing, what a season that they've had. 5 podiums, 2 of which were wins. ThunderX, 4 podiums, 1 of which was a win. Audi Sport, 3 podiums, 2 of which were wins. So, gosh, 7 teams still in it. Leadpaw just outside of it. I believe they won't be able to overturn that deficit on Superfast Racing because they would lose on countback. Pappy Pop's just within it. Team Velocity still do have a chance mathematically. BFX and FVR have a slightly more realistic chance, but both of them still quite far off. Audi, with the starting positions of their drivers, you could expect them to overturn that 14 or 13 point gap. I'm not quite sure if we've got the right standings here.
13.
13 it is, thank you. But yeah, I mean, Cubs, what do you think this will happen?
Audi are in the best position they could hope for in qualifying, with Anti starting down in 11th. So as long as they keep at it, they are the favourites to overturn the deficit to super fast. But keep an eye out on Anti rising up into the top 10, and also the Thunder X cars are both in the top 10, so they can challenge for more for sure.
I was going to ask you about that because ThunderX are our defending champions. They've had both drivers show great bits of pace, not just this season, but over many seasons. Do you think that they have what it takes to stop the Audi climb here and actually pip Superfast Racing to the title themselves?
I think that we'll see a new Constructors champion today.
Oh, that's very interesting indeed. Remember, SFR have never won it. Anti took the driver's title in Season 5, but Fox took the Constructors. Just 2 seasons later, they sit here at the foot of the table. Gosh, my oh my. This really has the potential to be one of the great Ultimate Virtual races of all time. And the start is just 5 lights away. Here we go then, for the final race of this unprecedented Ultimate Virtual season. We are underway. Juan starts on the hard compound tyre, gets jumped immediately into turn 1 by Jake Brad Prix. With a good start, Juan just manages to fend off the likes of Kraft, also starting on the soft compound tyre. Kraft in behind Shiloh, Grandy, Pit Crew. The next 3, Grandy and Pit Crew, mediums and hards respectively for them. Kraft having a look at Prix. Prix actually just got past him there. She's up into 3rd place. Could she make that 2nd, surely? As she gets through on her teammate using the soft compound tyre, but Juan uses enough boost. Can he make a move into turn 1? Doesn't look like it. He's now holding up his soft running teammate.
Grandy's dropped out of the top 10 here.
My goodness. Look, he
We
has.
got Jera up into 12th.
And we've got Goose up into 16th position. That's our championship contenders. Anti, though, down into 15th. A nightmare start from 11th. We would have expected him to come straight up through the order, but on the hard compound tyre, he has done the exact reverse. Meanwhile, Juan has now dropped down the order. He's in 5th position. He's lost spots to Shiloh, not in championship contention. Kraft, not in championship contention. Priya, now also not in championship contention. But Jake, the leader of this race, the man who started on the front row and nicked that first position into turn 1, is most certainly a championship contention. Priya trying to keep Kraft behind to not shed further positions for the Audi Sport Virtual team. Once things shake out a little bit, Cubs, I will ask you on an update for the Constructors' Championship, because that will be really interesting to follow along with. But yeah, gosh, what a start here. Jeru now up into the top 10. This is a perfect start for him. Rain on its way is something that you do tend to expect with these 50% rain finales. But yeah,
Anti into 20th. We've got an entire SFR sandwich
oh
as
my
the rain
gosh.
comes in.
That is quite something. He was one of the favourites coming into this event to be down in last position as the rain comes rolling in. That is absolutely heartbreaking for the Finnish driver, who would have been looking to take the championship here just as he did back in Season 5. But alas, I don't think he'll have such luck. Pit crew, Corvid, Giroudi and Grandi hanging on the edges of the top 10. Grandi definitely could do something here, but he does need to get a move on. Pappy, who is just about in championship contention, goes through there as well. He started outside the top 10. Oh, he just shoves old teammate Goose wide. Goose and Anti have done a bit of a swapper. Goose started last, Anti just outside the top 10. Look at their positions now. Jake leads from Kraft, then Priya. Juan back up into 4th position. I think the rain has helped him because the hard tyre is just not the one to be on here at Interlagos. He is now up into 4th place. Shiloh down into 5th place. Rito in 6th. Pit Crew is our next big championship contender. We do have a whole lot of non-championship contenders in that top 6. Pit Crew 8 points off, so he would need a very, very good finish here to beat out the likes of Jake and Juan. We'll pop up the standings for you now, but it is a pretty picture. For the likes of Jake, he is currently overturning that deficit to Juan. Just 13 points in Jake's favour means that he goes 4 points clear of Juan at the top of the leaderboards. Pit Crew needs to get a bit of a move on. He has currently a 2-point advantage over Jake coming into this race, but he needs to make sure that he can finish high enough that that actually matters. Kuba.
Yeah, well, it's actually 5 points clear as he is also got the fastest lap. So he is 5 points ahead of Juan at the current moment. But Juan is getting close to his teammate now. And Kraft's fighting for the race win.
Yeah, big pressure from Kraft on Jake. And remember, this would send Jake from 5 points ahead of Juan in the championship to 2 points behind. We could see either Juan in his first season at Audi, as Kraft does get that move, but he goes way too deep into turn 1. Jake just managed to slip back down the inside. It'll be a battle of the turbos here. It looks like the BFX has the slide upper hand. He goes up the inside into turn 4. Jake tries to hang it around the outside, but there isn't much room there. Kraft, with a little bit of track limits there, does take the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix. That has huge championship implications. Juan on course to score 12 points. Jake only 18. That will not overturn that 9-point deficit that Jake badly needs to have in his favour. Anti still down in last place. This is a really, really poor start from the Finnish driver. Has seen him go from one of the potential favourites to just well out of contention. You have to wonder, would that have happened if he had started within the top 10, maybe up in sort of top 5 region even? Possibly not. Kraft leads from Jake, then Priya and Juan in an Audi sandwich. How's that looking for the Audi title chances, Kuba?
Well, Kraft taking the lead has sort of slowed down the calculations.
Well, just butt in when you've got them. Third and fourth for the Audi team as it stands. Pickering out up in 5th. He is the dark horse here. This is where he took that championship 1 season ago in front of his adoring home fans. but it wasn't a good qualifying for the Brazilian driver. He sits in the championship 7 points behind Juan, so he needs to beat him by a good few positions. But he could almost certainly ensure the championship by just winning the race. Also, Kuba, if you don't mind, at some point, I'd love to know if there's a tie between Jake and Juan, or Juan and pit crew, who has the tiebreak advantage there.
As things stand, is super fast racing currently beating Audi by 5 points, thanks to Jake in second.
No thanks
So
to Anti at last.
Prix and Juan will want to try and overtake Jake, at least one of them, to get of course those extra points. Thunder X 6 points behind Audi, so they're not quite out of it yet, but Pet Crew doing all he can and will probably want Grandy to pick up the slack as well. He's down in 9th.
For sure. Gosh, what an absolutely fascinating series of events that we have on our hands. Corvid looking to put pressure on Rito. Corvid, remember, is in mathematical championship contention, but would essentially need a race victory with all of the other drivers in contention scoring little to no points. So the existence of a Jake or a Juan in the top 4 completely spoils that for him. We've had pretty much non-stop persistent rain since the start of this race, which is really interesting. Kraft is finally giving us the beans when it actually matters. His teammate Giroudi, who is in championship contention, and I think Bluebell and Jeru would much rather him being out of the lead and him being fighting for that Drivers' Championship. He's an experienced winner around this Interlagos circuit, particularly when the pressure is completely off.
Yeah, it's definitely helping Juan because currently he leads Jake by just 2 points in the drivers, thanks to Kraft being in first.
Gosh.
As the two Audis now start to close in on Jake here, Priya very close behind.
She
starts
is.
to lose some of that gap.
So, add Jake into the pit lane. This is a potentially huge gamble. We might see other drivers in future laps, but if the rain gets announced that it's going away, and it does properly go away, it is a big risk. Will he get the jump on Shiloh on the pit exit? I think she just has the advantage, and actually he nearly crashes, he nearly bins it coming out of the pit lane as the sun is announced.
The rain just went away as well.
Yeah. Unbelievable
I don't think Jake got the strategy call quite right there. You never know, it might still work out for him in the end.
That is a potential championship defining moment. Kraft is into the pit lane now. These drivers are trying to hand the Audis their titles. This is incredible. 1-2 for Audi Sport Virtual here in Interlagos.
Got Pet Crew and Rito in onto new wets as well. Maybe those drivers know something we don't.
Maybe, or maybe they're just really stupid. Corvid coming through. He hits right into the back of Rito. Bit of turbo around the outside at turn 4. That definitely looked like an overtake outside the track limits. But I'm sure we'll have that reviewed after. Priya from Juan, 1 and 2 as they come up to lap Abva, who is in last place. His teammate, Abva in second last place. His teammate 1 spot ahead of him. I don't think the Fox Revival is on. Priya, not entirely going with the team orders here. To be fair, she is the team boss. So those are whatever she decides they are. Grandy,
we see Grandy and Cado onto enters now.
I think this is a massive mistake from these drivers, unless the rain comes back right now, because I could see them immediately coming in for slicks and not being able to make the benefit.
Oh, Priya's in. Oh, will it be enters or will it be dries?
They've got to go for the dries, surely. This is a championship-defining pit stop. They do.
Dries.
They do go for the dries. Incredible.
But the sun is going away. It's only clouds at the current moment, so it looks like the right choice here for Priya and Juan to essentially get them 1-2 provisionally as Kraft is out on the wets.
He is. He'll have to come in this lap. In fact, we've got a lot of drivers who have come in now. Jake in 4th position, in for the mediums, and he's now a good few seconds behind those Audi Sport Virtual drivers. And it looks like everyone will be filtering in for some slick tyres. It was completely the wrong call from those drivers who pitted for wet weather tyres when they saw the track drying out just in chase of a little extra grip. They didn't call it right. Kraft came in well after Jake actually, so he has fresher tyres and now track position. That completely throws up the championship. That would mean, of course, an Audi Sport Virtual title just 1 season after they dominated Challenger Virtual and took the title there. They would be doing the exact same thing. Well, not really, because they haven't dominated it, but they would be taking the title. Oh, Juan gets a little bit of argy-bargy from Lap-to-Car Suicide there. Pappy Pops running their own race, knowing that they don't really have any chance of a title or of relegation, so I'm sure they'll be relatively pleased with that.
Shiloh close to Jake.
Certainly she is. She might get him here, actually. Soft versus medium. She takes a slightly wide line through that middle sector. Not quite within the strength of that Leadpool car. In fact, taking a little look at the overview, the biggest grip cars, Superfast Racing on 9, Thunder X on 8, Leadpool Racing on 7 as a Neon Sunset Virtual. BFX, of course, also have 9 grip
Oh,
as
Shiloh,
well.
she takes the fastest lap.
Ooh, very interesting. So as it stands, Juan only extends his championship lead over Jake. And that is now by, what, 15 points. Incredible. Shiloh. Pit crew needs to get a move on here. He could be a really important player in this championship fight. Remember, he is 2 points ahead of Jake coming into this race. But he really, really needs to make sure that he can get up into the top 10. I'm sure we'll have plenty more rain antics throughout the rest of this Grand Prix. So lots still to come here. But it is looking very, very comfortable for the Audi Sport Virtual team. I wonder, Cubs, what do you think the strategy decision there was to put Prix on the softs but Juan on the hards?
Well, I think, although you said that hards weren't really good around this track, I think they are actually rather underrated. They just don't tend to work at the start of a race, but in the middle of the race, they can really make the difference and save you those cumbersome pit stops in comparison to just running out all softs. And Challenger Virtual finale, we saw the runners, the fighters for the win put on hards, put on mediums, and set fastest laps on the hard compound and then the medium compound.
Gosh.
So it's really not anything to laugh about. I think Juan can easily challenge Priya here on the set and also save a pit stop.
Charlotte putting pressure on Jake. She did get the overtake done on him in that middle sector on the last lap. She then lost it in the final sector. But she is looking very, very dangerous here, though those softs were starting to be going off a little bit more than Jake's mediums. Yeah, I think the hards here is a really interesting call. Priya now into the pit lane. That just gives Juan the lead.
Aldo's got the fastest lap now. He's out the top 10 at the current moment.
Gosh. Do we even give a point for that?
We've never specified. Never happened. So hopefully he gets into the top 10 and we don't have to think about it.
Jeru into the pit lane. This is not the way he would have envisioned his race going, but to be honest, from 16th place on the grid, it was more a case of damage limitation. BFX only an outside shot at the title. Doesn't get past, actually. There's a big gaps forming in the lower sector of the field. But up top, everything's still very tight indeed. Shiloh into the pit lane. Jake goes through, still in 4th position. I mean, what they'll really need is a big undercut from the likes of Jake and pit crew onto Juan, and then right after Juan pits, lots of rain. That will essentially be it. Juan, though, not that far ahead of Kraft now. He's on slightly older hards, so the win might not be surefire for him. But remember, he is the championship leader. All he has to do, especially with the likes of Jeru, Goose, and Anti, sort of on the verges of or outside the top 10 currently. Juan goes massively wide there through turn 4, though. But yeah, not looking good for his direct most competitors either. Jeru in 10th position, Goose in 14th position, Anti's still down in 19th place. Really not the way he would have won this race going, actually. He has been lapped.
Jake really throwing it away here, and currently, as things stood just a second ago when Juan was still in the lead, Audi had a very, very comfortable gap over Superfast and Thunder X, who currently tied at 137 points, so Superfast would only take second on tiebreak as things stand.
Rain now hit the circuit. That is good timing for the likes of Jake, who's just about to come in for some more slicks. It's bad timing for the likes of Priya, still on pretty fresh medium tyres. Pit crew as well, yeah. Jakes.
It's great timing for somehow who was on Worn Hards got back up to 12 here
Yes.
and might have some outside shot at the points if he can chase down Kado into Jiruni, but 8 seconds now doesn't seem likely.
No, certainly not. Yes. Interesting that. Yeah, big gaps forming just on the verge of the top 10, which we do sometimes see. It is very close though. Look at this. Kraft from Juan from Prix, and then Jake a couple seconds behind. He needs a little bit of luck or a little bit of skill to get himself up there. Juan now down to 3rd place. This is a little bit precarious for him. He would probably quite like his teammate as she does let him back through. Just to be acting as his rear gunner, because in this
Look
championship
how much
fight...
boost he has saved up. He had nearly a full bit of boost there saved up, and he's now starting to deploy it.
Yeah, I mean, it was massively helpful. The turbo upgrades that they've put in over the course of the season, I believe now on 8 turbo, is really quite something. We can have a look at the
Look
turbo
at that,
stats,
he's
actually.
just caught Kraft with that full boost bar.
Yeah, amazing. Full raid will stay. 8 turbo for the Fox team, as well as Audi Sport Virtual. 7, though, for Superfast Racing. 6 for Thunder X. Funny to see that those are the 3 teams in big championship contention here. Maybe turbo isn't quite as bad as it had been called in previous seasons. But yeah, Juan catches Kraft with that massive amount of boost. That is the turbo stat working its wonders.
Yeah, Turbo, it's very hard to tell. In Challenger Virtual, you had Nasaluna and Matessa fighting for the championship. Matessa ended up winning with 0 turbo over Nasaluna's, I think it was 8 or 9. So
Wow.
very hard to say what actually qualifies as the turbo helping, and what is like other stats of the car. But in this case, Juan definitely helped by the turbo to catch all the way up to Kraft.
Yeah, look, and he has so much turbo in store. As soon as Kraft got within about a second there, Juan was able to just boost all the way away. Though it does go very deep into turn 1. That is a result of the overspeed he carried from the turbo.
Yeah,
And
it
that
was
advantage
risky,
goes
but
away.
he didn't lose too much speed there. He just kind of trimmed the grass and
Yeah.
slowed himself down. Very good
Definitely
driving
seen
from him.
worse. So,
Definitely knows the car.
he definitely knows the car. But as it stands, well, actually, I don't even think as it stands, Juan, even if he wins both titles with Audi this season, will not be able to drive for Audi next season due to his own team, NASA Luna Racing, being promoted to Ultimate Virtual via virtue of a 2nd place spot. That is, of course, conditional on Flying V Racing folding, so it's not 100% confirmed, but it does look... Oh my god, Kraft with a kamikaze there. It does look likely that this driver, with this amazing rookie season, and this amazing, I mean, the best rookie season of all time, I'm sorry, Kuba, he does slightly pip you to it now.
Well, for sure, if he wins the Drivers' Championship, you can't really argue about it.
But at least, yeah. He won't be able to return to this team next season, it looks like, and drive with the heroics that he has done so with this season. Cano giving a bit of grief to Kraft there. He is a lapped car, he is in 11th place. You would have thought he'd be trying to take out the likes of Juan and make things a bit more likely for him, rather than trying to take out the likes of Kraft, who has...
Oh, we've got people petting for tries now. Rito, first one in.
Rito, Corvid, Jeru, all in. Bit of a gamble here. To be the first ones in, just in case the rain comes back, but it is both Audis on the soft. Yep.
And
Pit crew, this is huge. Pit crew takes the fresh wets. Pit crew does call it right. Grandy stayed
Grandy
out.
stays out on worn wets. Very interesting to see how this develops.
Have Thunder X stay
Also,
on it.
somehow, Vlad went into the pit lane onto fresh wets as well.
Gosh, look at this. These drivers will have to be right back in. Jake will be kicking himself that he didn't make that alternate strategy call, because this would have played perfectly to his hands. It's only going to be light rain, so we might see these drivers take the Inters instead.
Where will we see Grandy come out?
We'll
Quad's
take a look.
already leaving.
Look at the Thunder
pit lane.
X's, imperious as they come down that main straight. They will jump Prix in the stops, but they haven't got their man out in front. Juan leads now from Grandy, then Kraft, then Pit Crew. Thunder X, so we haven't even talked about that much over the course of this race, have suddenly called it perfectly here with this rain. That is really, really fascinating to see. They're running line
Look at
astern. Go on.
look at Jarrett in 10th and somehow in 11th, and their number of pets between them.
Oh my gosh.
7 against 4.
That is something, isn't it?
And
Craft.
somehow now forcing Jake wide as well. He is bullying the super fast racing. He's got a history with them, and he's really held down Jake there. Said, no thank you, sir.
Look at these gaps, though. All of these drivers in the top 6 are separated by less than a second to the car ahead.
Top 7 nearly.
It's unbelievable.
Shiloh, she's very close as well.
She is.
Starting to lose a bit of it now. Grandy has
Grandy
to
in.
enter the pits
Yeah.
for fresh wets.
I think that's the right call. If this rain period does stay around, there's no point running all the way to the end on really worn out
and the
wets.
clouds, the
Yeah.
rain has just stopped
Okay.
is the issue.
Thanks, rain. Still, Juan leads from Prix. That bit is not that new. Kraft in 3rd, also not that new. Pit Crew now down to 5th. What's happened to him? Because he looked very promising to climb his way to the podium spots. He's now dropped behind Jake.
Thunder X gave Audi a scare there, but it doesn't look like it's gonna
No.
stay as a threat for now.
Crandy now down in 7th position after that pit stop. Pit Crew in 5th still. Jake, remember, even if these drivers do beat Juan, they need to beat it by good points. Still, what was the results of if Pit Crew or Jake wins while Juan is 2nd? Who wins on the tiebreak there?
What if Pit Crew?
If Pit Crew or
Jake
Jake wins, as in if they outscore Juan by the 7... Oh no, I guess Jake would need to outscore him by 9 points, isn't that right? So if Pit Crew wins and Juan's 2nd, assuming that neither have the fastest lap, who wins on countback? Well, you work that out.
Juan's got 2 race wins, and Pit Crew would have 2 race wins if he won over Juan, but Pit Crew has a 3rd place, but Juan would have a 2nd position,
Yeah.
so it would be Juan who wins on tiebreak from that 2nd position that he gets to end up in a tiebreak in the 1st place.
Shiloh, the
Shiloh's
first driver
first
in.
one in.
Grandy there as well. Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting that means that Juan, you know, even if one of these championship contenders does make their way up, and look how close they are now as well. Jake has come on a real comeback drive after calling an earlier raid strategy wrong. He is only 2 seconds off the race leader, but that might all be for nothing. The strategy to the end will be really important. Do you reckon Hards could go to the end here?
12 laps, definitely. We've seen that happen in Challenger Virtual a lot, and I'd also like to bring up the parallels between Matessa and Audi Sport Virtual here, as Audi both started, went into the final round at Interlagos 13 points behind, with one of their drivers as the championship leader, that being Juan and Butter respectively, and their other driver just on the fringe or just outside championship contention, Priya, after the qualifying 26 points behind, and Fast Juicer was 24 points behind Butter coming into the finale. And now they Audi looks set to do the same as Matessa and come from 13 points behind and win the constructors in the final round with an amazing performance. Juan and Butter also both started from the front row of the grid. It's very interesting to see the parallels. Those two teams, of course. Well, you could say they fought last season, but Audi Sport Virtual with undisputed dominance, Priya and Iceberg, but yet she's decided to bring in Juan instead, and Juan can consider
What a
himself
call that is.
very lucky, as he's set to become, I think, the first ever rookie drivers champion.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course, the first ever.
Yeah. Apart from the first season, I suppose, but still.
Yeah.
Look at these Audis flying in formation now, having a little scrap between themselves, but they know it doesn't matter unless Jake can somehow drive his way all the way to the front, with Juan dropping down to 3rd position.
Well, they are on mediums, and Jake is on hards. Jake's got...
Look, he's caught them.
Jake could stay out.
He's caught them. Juan does have a
Well,
lot
I
of
think-
turbo, though.
Yeah, well, Audi might have to pit one more
Yeah.
time, because when did they pit? Lap 43.
Yeah, it was about them. Look at them side by
That's
side
a
again.
very weird decision.
It is. They've called the strategy so perfectly so far in this race. Look at them going side by side through almost every corner now. Juan would probably just want Priya to slightly back off, but they
Oh,
might have their
got rain
blushes
coming in.
spared.
That will really help him.
So have I got this right? If
could have
Jake
got
wins
it.
with Juan in third, that would give Jake the title.
Yes, by 1 point.
Gosh, amazing. Look at this. The drivers all into the pit lane. Nobody opting to stay out and risk another lap here. Double stack for the Audis. They're lucky we have ghosted pit lanes these days. Otherwise, they would have had a bit of difficulty doing that back in the old days of Sunday League Virtual. Wet tyres. It's only going to be light rain, though. Look at this as they crawl their way out.
Jake's got a full boost bar.
He does. He needs to get using it though, because he's dropped from only a few tenths behind the Audis to now a couple seconds. He's closed up slightly. He could do it here. He just needs to drive through. Remember, Priya, maybe her personal pride will come before the team. If she denies her teammate the second place that he would need to still secure the title with a Jake win.
But Kraft is catching up to Jake now, and Jake is quite wallowing here. This would be the third season, I think, where he would finish second in the drivers, which is just simply heartbreaking, honestly.
And it would be every other season as well. He did it in Season 3, he did it in Season 5, he did it in Season 7, or he is on course to potentially do it in Season 7. The Audi's still fighting, and in between
all
those
of these seasons with a completely different constructor each time.
Yeah.
Well, technically, Neon Sunset and BAR, same constructor lineage.
Yeah. Still amazing. But look at this. So Kraft was really close to the Audis. Priya is just pushing her teammate around the track. Jake can get involved in this fight. Kraft can also play a part, because if he's able to attack the Audis and waste their time, that brings Jake into it. Kraft into second place. Can he make that the race lead? He's got the inside run. Juan tries to cover him off. Kraft's just going to sit in his slipstream. Kraft, as they cross the line to start the fourth to last lap of the race, took the lead briefly, lost it through turn 1. Jake is still in with a chance here, but he does have a lot of cars to get through. This could be the most dramatic ending to a championship that we have seen. Jake needs the win. He needs Juan to drop down to third position. He needs that Audi car just to lose all semblance of grip. It only has 4 grip on it, I think. No, it only has 4 something. Anyways, doesn't matter. Kraft in that fight. Jake just hanging back at the moment. Kraft with a massive amount of turbo takes the lead. Will he keep it this time? He goes deep again. Just nearly keeps alongside Juan. Gets the inside run to turn 4. Juan is now down into second place, but Jake needs to make sure that he can get involved in this fight as well. If he gets through on this pack of 3 cars, he would take the championship, but he needs to get a move on. He's still hovering just around a few tenths behind it. He really just needs to drive straight through it now. Kraft is the race leader. Juan in second, Priya. Then Jake still not making the inroads that he needs to be. Corvin unlapping himself now. Audi looking pretty much all but confirmed for the title. Juan wants to do it in style here. He's not going to let this non-championship competitor Kraft take this win away from him.
Oh, Jake hits the back of Corvin, loses a ton there.
Oh my gosh, that might just be that in this race. Full heavy rain to guide us through our final lap of the Ultimate Virtual campaign. Kraft, who is well outside of championship contention and has, to be honest, had a really rough rookie season. Unlike the driver behind him, Juan, in second position on the racetrack, his teammate right behind, Jake, I think far enough back that the Audi Sport Virtual drivers, in their first ever seasons in this competition, in the team's first ever season in the competition, on their final lap of this rookie season, will be waving to the fans. I'm sure they'll be reveling in the moment. Kraft, as he comes up the final straight, may just take the race win here in Interlagos, but Juan will take his rookie title. An absolutely fairy tale story for the Audi Sport Virtual team, for the Audi Sport Virtual driver. A double podium to cap it all off here in Interlagos. My oh my, you could not have written a better tale than that. Jake just off the podium in the end, symbolising how close he was to potentially taking that title had he made up 3.5 seconds at the end of the race there. Pit crew right behind him as well. No defending his title here on home soil. he will only be, I believe, 3rd place in the championship. So, a very good season for him. Not enough in the end. Shiloh was out of contention. Grandy picks up solid points for him in Thunder X, which, Kubo, you might be able to confirm, but I believe means that they're 2nd place over Superfast Racing, potentially. Jeru, then
I'll
Rito,
have to check.
then Cor. I think it'll be very tight, actually. I think it might even be tied. Right. My, oh my. How incredible was that ending? As we now will hear the national anthems for the winning driver and constructor for both the race and the championship. First, we have the Finnish national anthem played for Kraf. Congratulations to Kraf. What a race victory that was. Fantastic for him and for the BFX team. Speaking of the BFX team, and also just looking at this briefly, Kraf with a bit of a rough season, but he'll be delighted. A 1st podium and a 1st win for him in Ultimate Virtual, just as his teammate did a few seasons ago.
He did get a P2 earlier this season, so
Oh,
not
sorry,
first
alright.
podium, but is the first race win regardless.
Sorry, my eyes deceive me. Yes, you're right. He did get a P2. But yes, a 1st race win for him, just as his teammate Taruni did 4 seasons ago here as well. Absolutely amazing to see. The national anthem of Fiji now for the winning constructor of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Banger of a national anthem, to be fair. Next up, and the moment that I'm sure they would have been waiting all season for. They would have been hoping, they would have been dreaming for it, and now it has finally become a reality. It's the Drivers' Champion of Season 7, the champion of the world. Juan, here is his national anthem for Belgium. A massive congratulations to him, our first ever rookie champion, and in his first season at Audi Sport Virtual at all, let alone in Ultimate Virtual. Finally, and a song that motorsports fans will have been very familiar with from Formula One about 15 years ago. Here is the Dutch national anthem. Congratulations to Audi Sport Virtual. What a win that is. They absolutely dominated Challenger Virtual. We were all wondering how they would adapt, and they have suited this division just as quickly as they did the last. They are your rookie constructors champions as well. Right, time for a bit of a post-race debrief. Cubs, give us your thoughts on that one.
Yep, well, I did run the calculations, and it will be, in fact, Pet Crew beating Jake on tiebreak to second in the Drivers'
Wow.
Championship. Jake finishing in third because he did not get a race win to Pet Crew's single one. Behind them in fourth, it's Giruni. Then in fifth, it looks to be Anti beating Grandy on tiebreak. So some
Amazing.
interesting stuff there. Kraft also definitely jumping quite high up into probably the top, well, definitely the top 10. As for the constructors, Super Fast Racing beat Thunder X to second on tiebreak.
Wow.
So Pet Crew beats Cheek on tiebreak, but Super Fast beat Thunder X on tiebreak. A funny give and take there. BFX in fourth, Flying V Racing in fifth. They're most likely dissolving. Then sixth depends here on whether we're giving Caddo that point for
Oh my
fastest lap.
gosh. Amazing.
If we do, they beat Lead Paw by 1 point. If they don't, they beat Lead Paw on tiebreak.
Okay. I think in the
Happy
past we
Pops.
have, so I will not necessarily exclude it. But that's
Happy
amazing.
Pops in 8th. Neon Sunset in ninth. And Fox relegated, and of course also most likely dissolving.
Gosh, yes, not a great season for our champions of two campaigns ago, but that is just the way that it runs sometimes. Right. Wow. What an amazing season this has been. I mean, to have this many drivers and this many teams in competition down to the final race. Truly, I mean, absolutely incredible. A great qualifying session and a great race that we've been treated to here today. So, I think with this finale now closing off, Cubs, I'd like to thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much to everyone who watched this season of Ultimate Virtual. We will be back, not that soon, but we will be back in time for season 8. But until then, thanks so much for watching. Goodbye.